So the final panel is about promotion and distribution and actually the visibility of film. And so, as I already announced the ladies, so I will just say what they actually do and what they are going to represent. So I will start with Slobodanka Mišković. She runs the Croatian art house cinema in Rijeka, Art-kino, but the public institution Art-kino, member of the Europa cinemas. Am I right? Fatima unfortunately couldn't come due to her family reasons. Then, very quickly, Doris, Banhold. She represents European film promotion. It's one of the important programs for promotion of European film and supported by media. And I will just then relate to Zrinka's Shooting Star, which is also one of your strong programs of the European film promotion and supported by media. Sorry for jumping, Tine. We even introduced. Tine managed to finally arrive. I tried to have her last year, but it was impossible due to the American film market. But finally, I have Tine here. She works now for the sales company, distribution company Level K, and she comes from Denmark, though she has her professional experience as working for Centropa, discovering new emerging talents. But what I really like in your CV is that you are quite interested in innovation and the digital way of promoting the films. We have a famous actress. She's now quite famous in the UK, so yeah. And Zrinka Cvitešić, so she was the first Croatian shooting star in 2010, and somehow everything after this developed for the best and for the good in terms of your career. So thank you for coming. And finally, here is Vanja. Vanja is someone who really works hard to develop, to produce, to promote animation, not only in Croatia, but also around Europe. And it's quite challenging also to sell animation. And you're becoming kind of regional sales representative. And we will also tackle your contribution when it comes to Clermont-Ferrand and Euroconnection. So, since Fatima is not with us, I will just give a little intro. So it's the network, the only European network. This year celebrates 25 years, if I'm not wrong. And it's the network also supported by media. And it combines numerous art house cinemas and also does a little programs in terms of the training for the exhibitors and as well attached to the Lux Film Prize in terms of supporting translation of the films. And today there are 14 Croatian cinemas participating, and one of them is Art-kino Croatia from Rijeka. Yeah, Art-kino Croatia from Rijeka. So maybe we see two trailers. One is referring to summer.
One is opening of the summer cinema last summer, and the other one is from the opening of from the autumn, from the September, when we have opened this cinema season. Yeah, with Igor Bezinović, kratki izlet.
Actually, it's a summer season, and then it's also a school in cinema.
So you changed the program. I didn't know that.
No, because you sent those trailers.
Okay. Then we have school in cinema
because
and summer cinema. Because
it's important when it comes to Rijeka that Rijeka is the European capital of culture together with Galway to 2020. Yes. And what you do, it's amazing when it comes to the film education. Mm-hmm. And you really developed school in cinema as a really strong program, and you are participating at the European capital. Mm-hmm. But let's see the trailers first. because I would like to concentrate on the cinema. So you're also celebrating this year 10 years, right?
As well as Croatian Audiovisual Center and Media Croatia. We have opened back in 2008 with ambition to become vivid cultural center in city of Rijeka and to focus on art films, Croatian as well as European, contemporary and heritage. So we wanted to be not just, how should I say, cinema, but place in with ambition to develop film culture in all levels. And that's the reason we strongly focused from the beginning on educational programs.
Let's stop with Europa Cinemas. When did you become a member? You were also 1 year the best cinema in terms of the screening European films or so, and you got some extra funding as well.
We have every year we have a really strong funding comparing to other Croatian cinemas in terms of how should I say financial amount. And we entered Europa Cinemas almost 6 months after the opening because we have a really, how should I say, 90% of our program is Croatian or European. And since Europa Cinemas is focused on fostering circulation of European films, we click all the boxes from the beginning. And since then we are members. Back 10 years ago, there are just few cinemas in Croatia. I think Kino Europa, Kino Croatia, and maybe Osijek, I'm not sure. But in the last 10 years, due to many reasons, one of them, of course, is support of Croatian Audiovisual Center, network of independent cinemas in Croatia, support of European cinemas, the number of Croatian cinemas in this network is growing.
When it comes to the Croatian cinema network, it did really well for the Croatian film as such. Yeah. So maybe you can explain how many members, what kind of programs do you actually develop and do? And
in this moment, there are 40 cinemas in Croatia that are part of Independent Cinemas Network. And this network was, how should I say, established by the big push from Croatian Audiovisual Center. There is also one very important program that was organized by Ministry of Culture and Croatian Audiovisual Center, and that is digitization of cinemas in Croatia. We had a problem a few years ago that Croatian films couldn't be seen in small cities, in independent cinemas. They could be seen only in multiplexes, and many cities and small cities in Croatia do not have multiplexes. With digitization and with network and with a lot of help of from Croatian Audiovisual Center as well as producers, in this moment all Croatian or almost all Croatian films are present in Croatian independent cinemas. I have to say that in many occasions, independent cinemas are, how should I say, better with numbers than multiplexes. And for example, in Art-kino, Croatian documentaries, Croatian films are usually films with highest inbox. Yeah, that's...
And one thing I would like to highlight, the city of Rijeka also co-finances. This is a special agreement between the Croatian Audiovisual Film Center and the city of Rijeka. Co-finances the films with the themes
local film
related
production
to Rijeka, and having Rijeka film professionals in a way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because we don't have strong film production in Rijeka and area nearby Rijeka, because I mean all of us, we know that film production is mainly centered in Zagreb. So that's the reason that City of Rijeka and Croatian Audiovisual Center made an agreement almost also 10 years ago.
2000
yes, to foster local film production, short meter and medium meter films. So in the last 5 or 7 years, there were almost, I think, 30 or 40 films co-financed by this agreement that are somehow related to Rijeka, by theme, by author, by, you know, yeah.
Thank you. Maybe now we can show the trailer with School in Cinema. So how many kids are involved in the program?
Each year, more and more. Last year, we have around 15,000 pupils that were attending this program. This is program for elementary schools and for secondary schools. And it's basically, we are focusing again on Croatian films, Croatian film heritage and contemporary films, and European film heritage and European films for children. For the many occasions, this program was the first opportunity for some children to even hear, for example, Norwegian language or Swedish language, because our kids basically are, how should I say, they have completely new cultural habits, and they are mostly in contact with, how should I say, American or English audiovisual content. So we try hard to somehow introduce them to completely a new world of European and Croatian film production, and results are great. The numbers are growing each year. And also we started a few sides projects like film traveling workshops when we go to school and learn them how to make short films, and many other projects that are connected.
Yeah, because unfortunately in Croatia, media literacy and film education at elementary schools it really depends on a single teacher, and
yeah.
This program you're working together with teachers.
Yeah,
and
we also start this small media summer school with Vera and Croatian film Hrvatski filmski savez. When during summer, during festival called Tobogan, we have 5 days media school for teachers, when we teach how to teach about film and media literacy in general. Yeah.
And just one sentence when it comes to the Children's House and the European Capital of Culture.
Yeah, Rijeka is going to be European Capital of Culture in 2020, and we have 7 main flagships. One flagship is House for Children, Brick House. When 3 institutions, city cultural institutions, Art-kino, City Puppet Theatre, and City Library, are creating together a new institution, new program format that is going to focus on children in order to help them to create and communicate new ideas or ideas of 21st century. This is going to be educational, cultural center for the children's creativity. And we are going to, how should I say, cooperate with schools, with parents, children, and so on. Yeah.
So yes, the art house cinema, in terms of the promotion of the creation in European film, it really it's important.
Yeah.
So speaking about promotion, I will now turn to Doris. European film promotion. Whenever I go to Berlin, it's like shooting stars, shooting star party, and yeah, things like that. But it's not only that.
Well, no, it's not only shooting stars. Although like shooting stars is a wonderful program.
From the practical experience. But sorry for interrupting. Would you like us to play a trailer?
We can look at the trailer first.
Yeah. So it's the Georgian.
Yes, we do short clips for each shooting star now, and so you see 30 seconds of the Georgian shooting star. It was the first nomination ever from Georgia, and
we just need to say to Zrinka, because you wanted at your time, she only has DVD, so I said, sorry, we cannot play. But yes, let's see it.
Viđala. Andy? Ajmo ići, CJ!
So, yes, but maybe we should say something about EFP first, because it's
when was it founded?
Yes, it was founded 21 years ago, and it's a pan-European network. It meanwhile consists of 38 organizations from 37 countries, and like Lofi from Icelandic Film Center is part of it, and also the Croatian Audio Center is part of it. And the national organizations that work for their national films, promoting their national films, have joined forces together in EFP, and we do different projects all over the world to promote European films and its talent. And Shooting Stars is, of course, a very important and very prominent part of the EFP work, and we have young actors coming at a certain point of their career where they're ready to step onto the international stage, and which happened with you as well. And like this year, it was Matilda De Angelis. She was from Italy, and right after Shooting Stars, she was called, and she is now being in the next film is with Pierce Brosnan. It's an American production, and she has already received further offers. And the statistics say that 8 out of 10 shooting stars have an international casting following the year that they have been nominated and awarded. So it really helps to give the prominent exposure to the whole film industry, and to have from small countries and big countries. It's not selected by country, it's just selected by talent. And there's a jury. Ankitsa was in our jury this year, and they made a wonderful decision. We had a great group of 10 young actors, and then we move on. If we go through the year, it's like Producers on the Move. It's something we do in Cannes. It's 20 producers that have their first international co-productions, and they have to have a project that has 20% of its financing. There's certain points that have to be filled out so that they are nominated to be a producer on the move. And I did check with the numbers how it's with women and with men. It's a little less women. It's like 8 to 10 women each year, and it's like 10 to 12 male producers each year. So it's not that bad. It's sort of almost equal.
How is it with Shooting Stars?
Shooting Stars, it's of course more women than men, but there we talk equal pay. I mean, we don't talk that there's not enough actresses. We talk that they need to be paid the same way that their male colleagues are paid. So that's something we cannot, unfortunately, take care of. And then we have a new project now, which is, I think, something is very important to. We have a program called The Changing Face of Europe. It's documentaries, creative documentaries presented at the Toronto Film Festival, coming up end of April. And for us, it's a way to brand sort of a program with a subject, with a theme, and to show what Europe is like, to have the different things that move Europeans in one program. And it was selected, it was submitted by all the members. It was like 36 films were submitted, and 10 were selected. So it's a really high quality program with a lot of competition around. And we feel that going on with that, it would be nice to, if we could like move this to other places as well, so that you can show what Europe is like, all the diversity that the films bring along. And so we are really excited about this new program in Toronto. Then we have a program for women only in Sydney. It's Europe, Women's Voices in Film, which is now in its 3rd year. And it's really nice to present, Jen Chapman, the producer of Jane Campion, is the godmother or the ambassador or whatever you call it. And they traveled to Australia, and we have had good results. I mean, it's a young program, so it's not as successful like as Shooting Stars or so, but films are being shown more in like 4 films were picked up in Australia after they've been screened in the program. And so that is something also where we felt that we have to make a point about women in film, and that you have to present them by themselves and say, this is exceptional work that you can see, and it's done by women. So then we have for young people, it's starting in Kalavivari. It's students just finished out of film school. They show short films. It's a collaboration with the Kalavivari Film Festival. And this is a nice program to introduce young filmmakers to the film industry by itself. We do sort of extra programs where they meet with festival or programmers and sort of learn how to move about, how to sort of get connected. And networking is one very important aspect of our work, that we bring together people, because it's a people's industry, and if you have lots of connections in the different countries, then you can move about much easier, and you have more input and have more creative input as well. So then we also do, which I think is, maybe you can also say something to that. There's lots of people that are connected to us. We do European umbrellas in the 4 markets that are like Hong Kong, and then Busan, and then in Toronto, and at the American film market, where we sort of organize that people can work under good conditions and don't pay that much, as we sort of negotiate the conditions. We use our joint forces so EFP can help them to sell their films better, and we also support this by Film Sales Support. That is a program where sales companies can apply for the promotion or the marketing of special films that they select, and where they get what I learned now. Our program is easy access program. It's not as difficult as media, I heard, and where they have the chance to boost the promotion of the European films that they're selling outside of Europe, which is our subject, is very much outside of Europe, to present films and to further the presentation. And we have like 1,800 films have been boosted by Film Sales Support ever since its inception. And so in the combination of presenting talent and filmmakers and the business part of the film industry, we sort of bring together the whole thing, so that even, or especially in regions further away, like in South Korea and Busan, we all come together and we just, we bring together what is needed so that everybody can work properly and be successful with their films.
Yes, of course, and promoting the European film outside Europe, this is also important to underline. So I would like to move to Zrinka. You have a mic. Yeah. So Zrinka was the first shooting star in 2010, and it was with a film together with Leon Lucev, Naputo. Now I can't remember the English title.
On the Path.
On the Path, yeah. And it's culminating by winning the most prestigious the UK Theatre Award, Laurence Olivier, in 2014. So you really rocked the floor.
Kicked ass.
At that time, together with British actresses. And I think this deserves applause, right? Yeah.
First of all, I have to say it feels very strange to be presented in English by a person who really can say your last name. So this is kind of a new thing for me for the last couple of years. I would like to thank you for the invitation, because first of all, I feel kind of proud and happy that we are sending this little wave of women's voice in movie industry to the big one that it's rolling through the world now. Second of all, the second reason I'm happy I'm here, because I think it was like 10 years ago or more, I had my portion of the cake where I ended up being an alien because I was trying to fight for my rights and I was trying to be paid the same as the male partner. And that ended up by putting me on the blacklist in Croatian cinematography by men. So that was kind of the second reason. And the third reason I'm happy I'm here is, although men did start my career, it was women who kind of pushed it further. First of all, it was in 2009. It was Jasmila Žbanić, Bosnian director, who gave me the lead in her movie, which ended up being nominated on Berlin Film Festival, and then with nomination for European Film Award for me. And then it was in 2010, Ivana Ivišić, who put my name to a shooting star table. And that's something I'm going to go back to. And then in 2014, it was a German director, Mihaela Kezele, and a German producer, Gabriela Sperl. They gave me the lead in Die Brücke am Ibar, which ended up by biggest German award for culture, Bernhard Wicki Award for me. And then it was in 2013, Barbara Broccoli, who gave me once and Olivier Award and everything that happened afterwards. So yeah, it was women for me. Shooting star, if I look at the facts, if I look at my life for the last couple of years, it kind of did it all for me. What I think is the most important, it gave me the new perspective. It kind of opened my eyes. And I realized for the first time that it's not Croatian borders that I have to be in, that I have this incredible gift given in my hands, and it can go so much more further, yeah. And that was kind of the first time I had this feeling that, wow, okay, you do a movie or a theater piece or a book or whatever, and it doesn't matter where you live, you can actually, you know, you can reach so many people on the planet. So, shooting star, yeah, I mean...
do you still remember this experience?
But you said something that was really true. I remember, I think it was Renee Zellweger who was kind of the star of that year. But we felt so much more bigger and more important because Shooting Star managed, I don't know how, I still don't know how. I was there last year for the 20th anniversary, and I was thinking the same thing. I was like, how do you manage to like steal all the lights for only 10 people each year on that festival? Because, you know, all of a sudden you're like walking the red carpets, you're like wearing this diamonds that you see on Oscars. You're having a photo shoot for Vogue. I had an article written in Variety about me. You know, it's like, it's so unreal. And wherever you go, it's like roundtables and Q&As and everybody's asking about you. And that's just, I don't know, I still feel, wow, yeah. And the amount of energy, especially women in Shooting Star program are putting in, that's unbelievable. There is one woman, I have to, Karin Dix. She lives her life for Shooting Star thing. That's like said it all in one sentence. She took that year, she picked I think 4 or 5 of us, something like that, out of 10, and she was kind of taking care of us for the whole year. she was taking us to the film festivals around the world. And the latest one in that year was Hampton Film Festival in US. That was really amazing. It was, I think, a Black Swan opening for the first time to the public. And it was like all the people like Harvey Weinstein, okay? You know, but that was the level of like the people that we were introduced to. And they have this thing called Breakthrough Performer. And that year they picked 4 girls from Shooting Stars and 4 others. So it was like Jessica Chastain and Frida Pinto and, you know, and for us, European forces. So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just unbelievable. And the thing I learned being a shooting star from Croatia, I was alien again. I was the only one who didn't have an agent. So everybody was like asking, well, how do you find work? I was like, well, I don't know. They come to me and then, you know, we just, I don't know. So I learned like, okay, if you want to be like a serious part of the game, you have to have an agent. So Shooting Star did that as well for me. There was a shooting star from England, from UK. And I had several agents approached, and I picked him, and he was the one who kind of pushed Once and Barbara Broccoli production and all that. And yeah, I mean, the whole career that started in UK with Once and the Olivier Award, and after with BBC and ITV, and now with Woody Harrelson movie, it was because of the Shooting Star.
Was it surreal for you to receive the award, the moment, and did you expect it or?
No. The nomination itself was such a big shock, I think, because especially in English society, which is kind of for centuries like this way and still difficult towards strangers, yeah. I mean, not giving the job and the opportunity, not that, but like actually Olivier Award and stuff. So receiving the nomination, it was like, I was like, okay, I did it all. This is, you can't go any further from that point. So no, I didn't expect it. I didn't have a speech. Everybody was angry at me, Barbara and my director and everybody, because they were like, no, you have to have it. You just have to have it. We all have it. I was like, well, it won't happen, so why bother? So yeah, I don't remember a single second. I just remember they said my name, and I just, I don't know, I was continuing to clapping my hands, and then my mom said, it's you,
Maybe
it's you, it's you. I was like, oh, okay. So yeah. But yeah.
And I hope that...
But what I wanted to say, this whole thing, it ended up really well for me. But I think the Shooting Star, and especially the beginning of Croatian Shooting Stars, we had 2 more after me. So in 7 years, we had 3 so far. It was Marija Škaričić and Tihana Lazar. So I think this is what is about. I think it's the bigger picture for all actors and actresses from small countries, because when you do a movie, it's always a lack of money, always. Especially when the movie, you know, exits editing room, and then actually it's the birth of the movie and there's no money. So you have to think of all the tricks of how to push the movie, and usually being an actor in a small movie, you can't go much far. So I think this is the big picture, because it actually puts actors and actresses from small countries and small movie productions to world map of actors. And what I love the most about Shooting Star, and then after the Olivier Award and everything, is the students, the kids from Croatia. I had so many kids and students from the academy, producers, directors, actors, the kids from high school. They came to London, they were writing letters, they were like, because they see it's possible. So this is, I think, it's like, guys, there are no borders anymore. You can really dream big. So I think this is the...
Thank you so much. And it definitely is the program that media still needs to continue to support.
Yes, please.
Because of all these added value things. So, and another thing in terms of the promotion, yeah. Thank you. I will move to Tine. Tine Klint. So Tine also has a long working experience for different companies, mostly focused on sales and distribution. And in the end, you developed your own company, Level K. So can you pitch your company for us? Like what type of movies do you choose? Are they only concentrated on Scandinavian territory, or you go even outside?
We look worldwide, but the Level K in mining terms means the level where the gold is. So that was, I was trying to find a super cool, clever name, and I couldn't think of anything. And then one of my colleagues knew a gold digger in Australia, and he said that when digging for gold, when you reach Level K, that's where the gold is. So that's the basis of the company name. Level K is a merger of a traditional international sales agent, an aggregator, and a digital distributor. And the passion is the international sales agent, where we handle independent films, foreign language films, family entertainment, and also documentaries. The aggregation is the cash flow. That's where we handle aggregation on behalf of bigger companies like Apple, Google, Amazon, Netflix. And there's on behalf of rights holders, that can be producers and also bigger distributors in countries all over the world. And then there's the digital distribution. That's a mix of both. And we don't have much direct involvement with media. Mm-hmm. We do what's it called? We do submit the grouping, the selective grouping, where we sell countries, minimum 10 countries, and we apply on behalf of the distributors to get the funding. But everyone knows that if you are less than 20 countries, you don't stand a chance. So that support scheme is more for high-end art house directors, established directors. But we do get EFP support, and that's important. We get for traveling to festivals and marketing support. So that's an indirect. That is thanks to media, yes, and you make it much easier for us to apply. And then there's also another indirect support, and that's the Lux Prize, if you're lucky enough to have a film selected or awarded. And an example is our Swedish film Sami Blood. It started in Venice in 2016. And then it traveled to Toronto Film Festival. In 2018, it was in 17. It was in Sundance, Rotterdam, Gothenburg, and that's where we handled the traditional sales, where we sell to all rights distributors in countries all over the world. We managed to sell around 30 countries for theatrical distribution, and then this coming Monday, we are doing a direct digital distribution in all unsold countries. And we can do that because we have the subtitles from the Lux Award. So it will be released worldwide, not in the countries we already sold, but directly on iTunes, Google, Amazon. We submit it to the SVOD platforms like Netflix and so on. We can do that because we're an aggregator for them. But because of the subtitles, we can also do the local platforms and actually get a much wider release. Mm-hmm. So that's an example of how we coordinate and exploit both the sales agent possibilities and also the aggregation possibilities.
Yeah, because I'm again coming back to the introductory note that media devotes 42 million euros for distribution this year, and it's divided between selective, automatic, and online sales agents and online promotion of European audiovisual works. And as I said, if you are a sales agent and you want to buy a film from a small country, you need to sell it at least 10 territories. And for small films, it's really...
and it also has to be theatrical releases.
Yes, it's getting very complicated, yeah.
And for smaller art house film, when you're not Lars von Trier and Susanne Bier, which are the high-end art house feature films, then usually the distribution possibilities are mainly festival and event releases, and that doesn't count.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, because sometimes, yes, media has a specific scheme for festivals, but it's not looking at the festivals as also an added value in terms of the promotional tool for a film, and like art house cinemas and things like that. They really function well here. And I always tend to go into discussion and, in a way, arguments, especially when it comes to this new scheme, online promotion of European audiovisual works, because I tried one project to pass, but it failed because it didn't have at least one big country. I read in between the lines. And then I complained and I said, what is innovative in one country doesn't mean that it is innovative in the other. You know, because it's different angles and different points of view that we need to look at. And it's about the time to really not put us always in the same box, because it's different geographical positions, sources of financing. And of course, bigger countries are much better off when it comes to extra money for promotion and distribution. And in Croatia, we are really struggling. In Bulgaria, I heard that the film center, they also have additional schemes for distribution of Bulgarian films, and maybe if they are in co-production and screened at Cannes and in Berlin. But it's also something to also reflect on and to think about it. So, and we come to success story, Vanja Andrijević and Bonobostudio. But let's see also last year's success story at the Berlinale. It's a co-production between Canada, Croatia, and Bulgaria. Canada, Croatia, but I did no, your other projects are in Bulgaria. And it was screened in Generation Next. And it's, let's see the trailer and then we speak about the story. Hedgehog's story. Home. Hedgehog's story.
Po šumi, širom, bez staze puta, ježurka Ježić povazda luta. Vještak i majstor u poslu svom, radi i čuva rođeni dom.
Yeah, so it deserves a clap. So I give you the mic, and I will give you my mic, and you tell us the story. Ah, you have them, okay. How did you come to co-produce with Canada?
Well, actually, I got an email from a Canadian producer.
Wow!
Asking, would you like to co-produce Hedgehog's Home with us? And I said, like, wow, this is...
Maybe CC, like Canada? No.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Canadian producer was originally from Sarajevo, so it was quite familiar story for her, and the director was also from Sarajevo. Both of them were living at, they are still living in Montreal since the 90s. So for them it was an important story, and they really wanted to make it happen, and they wanted to co-produce with someone from this region, because they felt like, in Canada people don't know this story, and here everybody likes it. So it was just a natural step for them, to ask someone. They asked a couple of people, like, who could be a co-producer here, and some people recommended me, and that's how we met and realized, okay.
There was a click.
There was a click immediately, yes. Actually, I knew the director from before. I met her at some film festival a few years before that. So So yeah, that was quite easy, the first steps.
So last year Berlinale
Last year,
in Generation X, so it must be amazing with all those kids. And they're mainly German, right?
Yeah, it was dubbed in German.
Oh, dubbed,
And
okay.
yes, I was listening to the English version in the headphones, but it was actually dubbed in German, and German people told me it was brilliant, like the German version. And same as Zrinka, it was like, dream come true, that was it. And I think Ankica also mentioned something like that, like this is something you work for all your life, and then it happens, and that's it.
Is it still running around? Did you sell
Yes,
it
it's still, yes.
to some televisions, or?
Not yet. Not yet, because we split deals, we split territories with the Canadians. We got Eastern European countries, and they got the rest of the world. So
that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here it's really going well. I mean, even though we didn't show it on any television yet, it's available online on Vimeo on demand for some little money, and it's also still on the festival run, and it's been screened on many places, like in local cinemas, in some associations invite the film, and so on. For example, Children Meet Art, the association from Zagreb, they organize screenings for school children, and the film was like a huge success, of course, and thousands of children got a chance to see it here.
So it's a short film, and media, unfortunately,
unfortunately.
doesn't support shorts. So your animation, and it's very complicated for the animation as a genre, needs to be at the minimum of 24 minutes as a series or as a feature, let's say.
TV
and
special.
We know how much expensive this can get. However, with the new calls, they are introducing within the Slate funding support for shorts, even financing 10,000 euros or so. So there is a little way. But shorts are very important for young and emerging filmmakers, especially for the animation filmmakers. And in relation to this, I would like you to point out Euroconnection within the segment of Clermont-Ferrand, because this is where you usually also meet the potential partners, and in collaboration with us desks, we also help Croatian filmmakers to pitch their projects. So if you can just share.
I even pitched the project once.
You did as well, yeah.
Long
10
time
years
ago.
ago.
Yes, something like that. I can also mention that it's been 10 years since my company was founded.
Yeah, you see,
It's
another cake.
That year was fruitful. I pitched Father, the Bulgarian. German project, yes, with our Bulgarian friends and partners. But Euroconnection is a great place for anyone involved in short films in any way, like in production, distribution.
Maybe we just explain Euroconnection, sorry for interrupting, is the industry part of the Clermont-Ferrand, the biggest
short film festival.
Festival. Yeah.
So, and within this section for professionals, Euroconnection, I think, is like one of the most important ones. And it's a place where you can pitch a project in front of all people who might be interested in it, like producers from other countries, distributors, buyers from TV channels, because this is one of really rare chances where you can actually very easily meet any buyers, even if you are just starting. It's very, very, very friendly atmosphere and very informal.
Yeah.
So that's where people usually meet and decide to collaborate together and so on. That's, for example, when we pitched Father, we were approached by the editors from Arte, who said, "Oh, I like the project," and once it was completed, they bought the film. So,
have you ever applied to media, to any support in terms of distribution, selective? Yeah.
No.
No.
Because I'm mainly involved in short films. Yes. I mean, I started distributing 2 feature films last year, but they're also art house feature films. So.
What we need to underline here, the Croatian Audiovisual Center is one of the rare centers which supports minority co-production within the short films.
Yeah.
So this is something that is...
And actually, Father was the first film that was funded within this minority co-production scheme in Croatia, and then others followed.
Yeah, so this is great.
Yeah, and another thing that is great about Croatian Audiovisual Center is also the support they give for promotion and distribution, because that's where I apply every year and get some little money, but it helps a lot, to...
But if the film is selected, or
no, not for films, but
okay.
for the activity of distribution and promotion, because that's what we do. Like we have 50-something short films, and around 10 of them each year that are running on a festival circuit, and it's very helpful, to have some little money to pay entry fees, travel to some festivals, subscription fees for some platforms,
which can
and
be
so
very
on.
expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be impossible, really.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know. Should I admire you or be scared? But you're a producer, sales agent, distributor. I mean, like.
I have to do all of that because with just one of these activities, it wouldn't be possible to.
And you
survive.
do both ways? I mean, you do
for
Croatian films outside, and then you also do for some European films here, or?
Sorry, I didn't.
Do you sell Croatian films, but do you also buy some?
I wouldn't say
buy, but
buy.
Okay.
Because there's no money really. It's very little with short films.
You trade.
Yes, like I take the film and try to do something with it, And then if the film earns some money, then we share the profit.
Okay, and just to come back to Tine, just before we end, Denmark is always, it was always the core example, like how things are established there in terms of the film education schemes. Does also Danish Film Institute support promotion and distribution of films?
Of Danish films outside Denmark?
Yeah.
Yes. If they're selected for a festival. So there's
prerequisite.
If a Danish film is selected for Berlin Film Festival, then the producer can apply for support of for cast and crew, some basic, a publicist. Some of the Nordic countries support screenings, market screenings. So again, indirectly we get some support. But it's not all the Nordic institutes that support the market screenings. I think Iceland does. But yes, so there's some support there as well, yes.
And when it comes to VOD platforms, I mean, as we mentioned a couple of times, it's so difficult to see Croatian films online, and I hope that we will work on this, not only Croatian films, but also films from the region, if I may say so. And how is it with you and Denmark? And do you also have your own VOD platform? And can you actually earn money by selling it via?
Yes and no. It doesn't make any sense to just put a film on multiple platforms. You have to have marketing support and you have to have a strategy. Otherwise, you will just be invisible. Some good examples, and also because of the localization. So if you want the support from the platforms, you need to have local subtitles, local poster, local synopsis, and all that acquires capacity. And then you can get the platform support and be visible on iTunes, for instance. But you do need to spend some a budget on promotion on social media. An example for a documentary we had a few years ago called Sipidag, a Danish documentary, and it was selected for Sundance Film Festival. We already knew that the American distributors, it was too small for them, so we made a deal with the Sundance Film Festival and iTunes, that iTunes would release it the day after the premiere at Sundance, exclusively. So Sundance was fine because they got the premiere, iTunes was happy, Apple was happy because they got the exclusivity, and they could promote that in Variety and Screen and the trades and show their support for independent films. There was no mention of Level K anywhere. So the film was on iTunes, the front page and top 10 for 2 weeks or something, and then it completely disappeared. Or you have to scroll to page 30 to find it, or know that you have to search for it. But it was still playing festivals for 2 or 3 years after. And then after the iTunes exclusivity, we could add it to all the other platforms as well. So that was a successful VOD release for a small independent documentary. How much for the producer? I can actually not remember, but that's not the only. That was only for US. But after that, it played. Sorry? Tens of thousands? No, probably not more than $10,000. But still completely fine. Yes, but it also resolved in other territories, sales and promotion. So if you look at US and considering all the people that are actually living there, it wasn't a huge success in terms of those 2 weeks on top 10 on iTunes. But promotion-wise, it was perfect. And also it could play all the other festivals. So it played 2 or 3 years where you can sell screening fees. So all in all, a small documentary like that sold for $150,000 all over the world. So that was an example where we used the festival to promote on VOD and digital distribution.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Sorry, there is a way.
No, I just wanted to thank Tine's example of this deal using iTunes. For example, when reading applications for media, the weakest point most of the time, even for experienced production companies, is the marketing and distribution strategy. They are either loosely copy-pasted from previous works without really kind of thinking what is best for this project or this film to do it, or they have no idea of VODs. Like what really pisses me off every time when somebody just wants to put up a website to market the film. Like, who can find it in this noise of internet? How do people find it instead of using existing well-known platforms? And I just can't understand how it is possible. And I think that the next thing for media is to start giving funding for training where we teach people how to do a marketing strategy.
Yeah. Can I comment on that? Just one of our challenges is the timing and coordination. We have to deliver to the VOD platforms 3 months before the theatrical release. We cannot promote it on VOD before it's live. So we have to promote it the same day it is live. So it's also about capacity. And then we have to interact with audience, not only with distributors and buyers, but also with the audience from the day it's live and then almost every day. Otherwise, we lose the audience. So it's a change of how we work, how we're used to working as a traditional sales agent. The good old days is when we went to a market and you pitched a film and the distributor would come and buy all rights for 100,000 euros. And you would do that all over the world, not the same amount in every country, but that was pretty easy. And then they would take the responsibility of releasing the film on theatrical and throughout all the windows. Now it's different per country, and we have to be the distributor, the digital distributor, the aggregator, the sales agent, the social media expert, and it's just a different kind of people in the company and the setup. It's also super exciting, so I'm not complaining. It's fun, but it's a lot of coordination.
I just wanted to make a comment, and I'm going to disagree with you. I think the media program is dead wrong to expect producers to be marketeers. You know, they have to have a different skill set. They should be really good at working on scripts, getting the best out of creators, dealing with money, but adding marketing on top of that is really an expectation beyond what's reasonable. And the most interesting thing that I've heard in the last 5 years is I was on a panel with in Belgium, in Ostende, and there were 3 platforms, all of them telecoms, and all of them granted the right to be platforms, and all of them required by law to support the financing of local production. And there was one distributor on the panel, and halfway through the panel, and we were talking about marketing and their frustration of getting local films to the local audience from their platforms. And the distributor said, just a minute, I'm really good at marketing. Maybe I should take over marketing on the internet. And I think we have to consider that, you know, that it's really important to differentiate skills and understand the difference between marketing to an audience and marketing to business, B2B marketing.
But at that point, when they are asking hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands euros from media, many of them, they do have a distributor already involved.
Yeah, but it's then the distributor who should be writing that strategy.
Yeah, and nobody stops them writing that. You know, it's also the director writing the script and the producer writing something else. But it is an application where you are asking money to circulate your work. So then at least you have to have the idea how to do that.
Can I just jump in from my own personal experience? I do marketing plans the moment I have an idea for a story. I never start developing any project without having a clear idea of who the audience is, how I can approach them, and how can I afford it. This being said, in general, no exception, every distributor I work with, they look at these plans, dump them. The distributors don't do marketing. They let you do it. The viral thing, what they understand is, oh, we do a Facebook page. And you think, what age group? Who are you targeting? It's just a Facebook group, that's it. And they will not support you, even though they get money from the funds to distribute your film. They will not support you, they will not do their homework. And if you don't happen to be, at least I know that for a couple of countries, not only Germany, if you don't happen to have that film that automatically by itself miraculously becomes successful, they do nothing. Same goes for sales agents, and I'm not talking about, I mean, there are sales agents who get your film, who are very supportive, and it ends up in a package deal. And as a producer, I mean, everyone is complaining, they take the risk, they take the risk, they take the risk. The reality of it is, I am the last one being paid. I really am the last one being paid. My writer is paid, my director is paid, the cast is being paid, the sales agents get their commissions, the distributors have their commissions and P&A costs. I defer literally everything until this damn thing is done. And at one point, being a rather smart woman, I think, WTF? Why am I doing this? I mean, where is the benefit? Am I a public servant being not paid by anyone, but still being demanded? I mean, this is like, the reality is weird. And there are very good, I mean, at the Arbe at least we do that. We literally hammer it into the brain of the kids. Think of who the audience is, how you can approach them, how to reach them. Does this really work, your story? Do you speak the language of your audience? We deal with that, but the reality is everyone is frustrated, depressed, and overwhelmed by the changes of the industry, and no one knows how to deal with it. So I had to get that quickly off my chest.
You should try and work with me.
Yes, but we need to finish. Wait.
I just have to add one last thing, and it's to do with the children that you're bringing into the cinema. And just one very, very quick comment. I had one little question. You said you had 15,000 children, and I just wondered because we've been talking about statistics all day, what percentage that is. Because we talked a lot about marketing, but I don't think enough emphasis is given to who's going to be the audiences and are they going to watch films in cinemas. And I think that initiatives like this that bring children into cinemas are really what educating people to watch films in cinemas are all about. Because if you see a film on a screen when you're young, then you're going to want to see a film on a screen when you're older and understand the experience of going to the cinema and not sitting in a room and zapping or watching it on Netflix on something this size. And that, I think, is really important. So do you get your kids through public programs? I'm sorry, Martina, I know everyone wants to go home, and I can always ask afterwards.
No, we will be kicked out of the cinema. Very short.
Very short. Okay, Rijeka has 120 inhabitants, and Rijeka has 120,000 inhabitants, and 15,000 children went to cinema through organized programs with schools. So it means that practically every child went to cinema. We organize, we have very good cooperation with elementary schools and with grammar and secondary schools. And in the last few years, the percentage of teenagers are growing up because this is very, we started this program back in 2008. Every film has one short lesson in front about some specific element of film language or film theory. And also we have a few other cooperations with school. For example, for grammar schools, we have a program called Cinema Day, in which kids by themselves are organizing a cinema screening for the last day of school. They pick a film title, they design everything, and even they do projection. Stop. Sorry. So, yeah, that's it. Okay. Maybe we can talk later.
Second, all the wonderful ladies. So, Vanja, Zrinka, and it doesn't work. Now, this man. Tine, Doris, Boba, Aviva, Francine, Lena, Lofi, Mo, Linda, Tine, Roshi, Ankica, Tamara, Zrinka, and all those before. We love what we do. This is the point. And you do it with your heart. And this is the whole point. And I thank you for coming and for supporting not only media, but the projects, myself, because I was also 10 years ago completely unknown and trying to struggle with the media applications. But today, finally, I can say that I mastered them. So, thanks so much. Thanks so much. Thanks. And technicians and translators who are gone. And those volunteers who approached me because they said, we want to help you. And I'm alone still in the office, so... Whoa! Well done. Thank you.